So in this video, I am going to share with you some real-world writing tips. These are tips, suggestions to help you get a post published on a popular blog after it's been accepted. It's also some suggestions on how to write blog posts that turn random readers into sales leads and potential clients. And it's also going to show you a little bit about what's worked for me in the past. So a lot of these posts are mine because I know what I was thinking as I was writing the posts. Some of them are from John, again, because he's explained these posts to me so many times that I kind of know what he was thinking. So, what are the goals here? First of all, I'm not trying to change the way you write. I'm sure you've been blogging for a long time and have developed your own unique style, and you should absolutely keep that style. I just want to share with you a few things that I learned to make my posts get more shares, likes, and comments, like I said. And if you'd like, you can incorporate them into your own posts. If you think that these are going to be a waste of your time, then you could just throw them out. But I think that they will help you become a little bit better of a blogger, help you get your posts accepted, and help you get more leads. So the first thing is, make sure that your post is easy to scan. Now this is my friend Henneke's blog. She wrote it on Copyblogger, and it's called 6 Simple Ways to Writing Seductive Copy. Now let's say the reader is in a huge rush. The reader could just simply scan it. So step 1, describe your ideal reader. Step 2, create a comprehensive list of features, benefits, and objections. And step 3, develop an enticing value proposition. So the person who's reading this post doesn't have to read the whole thing in order to get a good feel for what it's about. They could simply just read the subheadlines here and scroll all the way down. Now, if they read the subheadlines and they're interested, then they could simply go back up to the top of the post and start reading it. So make sure that your blog post is easy to scan. People are very busy. They want to get some value, or maybe they want to bookmark it and save it for later, but they want to scan it right now just to see if it's going to even be worth their time. So let's get back into the presentation here, and let's go into tip number 2. Write short paragraphs. So this is one of my posts that I wrote on BoostBlog Traffic, and if you notice, a lot of these quote-unquote paragraphs are one line, maybe 6 words at most, 4 words, 5 words, things like that. Short paragraphs, especially in the opening of a blog post, draw your reader in. When a person sees huge blocks of posts, they automatically skip it over because people's eyes get tired from looking at long blocks of posts, and they lose track and all these other things. And think about it for a second. When was the last time you were looking online and you got really excited by seeing a long block of text? It just doesn't happen. So write short paragraphs. It'll draw your readers in more. Again, this is another blog post. This is that seductive blog post on Copyblogger, and Henneke writes the first 2 paragraphs are 1 line, the second paragraph is 2 lines, and the third paragraph is 3 lines. And if you were to go through this entire blog post, the longest paragraph is 5 lines. Again, she writes very, very short paragraphs because she wants to keep the reader actively engaged in the post. And writing these short paragraphs does that. Step number 3, drill down on the topic. Let me show you what I mean here. When I first submitted this post to Copyblogger, it was originally the outline was 20 mistakes that will undermine your sales page and cost you sales. So I submitted it and I got feedback saying that is way too broad, right? They only wanted to talk about the call to action. So I had to find 20 mistakes that people make only with the call to action on their sales page. So instead of talking about things like the color on the sales page, the font, the headline, and all these other things, we were only talking about one very, very, very specific part of a landing page. Alright, so here is a quick little table of bad topic, good topic that I kind of came up with. So on a bad topic, it's how to use Facebook to generate leads. Very broad. And the reason why these are bad topics is because a person can simply look at the headline and pretty much guess what the post is going to say. So, how to use Facebook to generate leads is probably going to say use polls, engage your audience, use pictures, so on and so forth. Now, how to create a page post ad that can double your sales leads is a headline that actually invites curiosity. Because one, you're talking about doubling sales leads, very specific, and you're talking about one single feature within Facebook. So another bad topic is get more exposure. How to get more exposure. Again, a person can look at this and pretty much guess what's going to be in there. It's going to be submit your post on the Facebook, tweet about it, write more blog posts, write content, use YouTube, so on and so forth. A person can guess what's going to happen. Now, 21 ways to get more exposure for your business using Pinterest. All of a sudden, that's really specific. Wow. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize there were 21 different ways to get exposure using Pinterest. Let me see what this is about. Tip number 4, use short sentences. Again, just like the short paragraphs, these draw on readers. So for instance, my first sentence in this post is 3 words. I have another sentence in here that's 6 words. Another one, 6 words. The fourth sentence in my post here is 9 words. Again, 1 line. Same thing. Use short sentences. It draws in readers. When people start off with these long run-on sentences, the eyes get strained, they get tired, and then they start to scan everything. So just the shorter the sentences, especially in the opening of the blog post, the easier it is for the person to read, the easier it is for them to get more engaged in the post. Again, this is another one. The very first sentence of this post is five words. The second sentence of this post is less than 10. The third one, again, less than 10. The fourth one is about 8 or 9 words. So you want to use these short sentences to get readers into the post, to build momentum, and so that way they could actually be engaged and start actively paying attention to what they're reading instead of just scanning these long run-on sentences. And finally, this is another post, again, short sentences. This is on Social Triggers, a very popular blog. He is an expert in getting people to read his posts and to take action, and one of the ways he does this is through the short sentence. So let's talk a little bit about length. If you're writing a guest post, check out how long the other posts are. But I will tell you that I find that a post between 1,100 words and 1,300 words are most effective. This allows you to tell a short story, add any research that you need to, and not be overbearing. People tend to read 1,100 to 1,300 words, and they'll take action and they'll get a lot out of it. These posts seem to get the most shares, and most popular blogs like Copyblogger, ProBlogger, Under 30 CEO, Kissmetrics, Social Media Examiner, if you look at them, they're not going to accept a post under 1,100 words. I don't even think Social Media Examiner will accept a post under 1,500 words, but we'll check that out. And I know a lot of people who are Seth Godin fans are going to say, well, Seth writes these 100-word posts, and you're right, he does, but he is pretty much the exception to the rule. Most of the other popular blogs, with especially ones that accept guest posts, are going to ask that your post be at least 1,100 words. Tip number 6, give us a soundbite. This is incredibly hard to do. However, getting a soundbite into a post is extremely effective in terms of getting it shared, getting it tweeted, becoming more memorable. So I wasn't actually able to find too many posts with really good sound bites, so I had to steal a couple of them. So first of all, what is a soundbite? A soundbite is a short message, often no longer than 10 words, that describes the main idea of your content or sales message. And so there are 3 ways for you to actually create a soundbite. And again, like I said, it's very hard to find these in blog posts, so I actually had to borrow them from some of the most famous sound bites on the planet, and I'll try to explain to you why they're effective. So the first way is to use contrast. John F. Kennedy, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. He is taking 2 separate sentences, 2 separate ideas, and contrasting them, and that's why this soundbite is so memorable. Second way to create a soundbite is to use the rule of three. Veni Vidi Vici or I Came, I Saw, I Conquered is a very popular soundbite. Again, because you're using three separate unique items. And it turns out our brains are hardwired to remember only three items. And finally, you want to violate expectations. This I actually found in a blog, and it says smart marketers don't just ignore bad prospects, they exclude them. To the average marketer or to the beginning marketer, this is something that would be so different than what they would expect to read in a blog post that it completely violates their expectations and they remember it. Tip number 7, bond with your audience. Inject a bit of your own personal experiences into a blog post every now and then. The more the readers know who you are, the more they're likely to like you, and the more likely they are to want to work with you eventually. So, this is one of the most popular blog posts ever written. It's John Morrow's, and it's called "On Dying Mothers and Fighting for Your Ideas." And basically, this is the chronicling his life. And John is paralyzed from the neck down. And when he was a baby, the doctors told his mother that he wasn't going to make it, that he was going to probably die of pneumonia by the age of 2 years old. And that's what this blog post is all about. It's about how he was able to go from a baby who wasn't supposed to make it to a guy who has become a successful marketer, and then to inspire you to be able to do the same thing. Most of us don't have a story as dramatic as this. I certainly do not. But we all have these very unique personal experiences that we can share with the world to let people inside and see who we are as a marketer and who we are as an agency. So this post is called "Why Quitting May Be the Most Profitable Thing That You Do This Year." And it's a very personal story that I wrote about how when I first started my marketing agency, I really wanted to quit, and why I wanted to quit, and what I did to sort of turn that around. This allowed me to bond with my audience. Tip number 8 is shock and awe. The content is king myth debunked. Now, why is this a shock? Because most people think that content is king, and Derek writes an entire blog post about why design is more important than content. Right? This post is very shocking to read to the person who says, "Oh, content is everything. Content is the king. Content is what makes the business go around." Well, Derek says, "No, wait a minute. I have research here that proves that design is more important than content." And this post got a ton of shares, a ton of comments. He got a ton of email subscribers from it, all because he wrote something that was shocking to the internet community, and he had the facts to back it up. Again, going back to why quitting may be the most profitable thing that you do this year, it's kind of shocking to know that, hey, wait a minute, why quitting may be the most profitable thing you do this year? I don't understand. That's kind of weird. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit with what it is that I believe and what I've been taught my entire life. Quitting shouldn't make you profitable. Quitting should be one of those things that it's the last resort, right? So again, shock and awe. Tip number 9, use metaphors. I wrote this falling into quicksand, and this is where I compare internet marketing to quicksand. So let's read this really quick. What if I told you that online marketing was like quicksand? The theory goes something like this. Any company or business can set up a blog, a Facebook page, a Twitter account, and a LinkedIn profile. You go gung-ho for a few months and spend hours writing blog posts, leaving comments, and networking. And when you realize you aren't generating sales, frustration and desperation replace optimism and enthusiasm. It's like you're stuck in quicksand. You're desperately clawing your way out, latching onto every new strategy that comes along. But the more effort you put in, the deeper you get, until you're completely overwhelmed, barely able to breathe, with no chance to succeed. So I compare the frustration somebody feels and the desperation somebody feels with a bad internet marketing strategy to being stuck in quicksand and that desperation of trying to claw your way out. So that way I could kind of make this more impactful, this imagery much more impactful. Even though most people are never really stuck in quicksand, this metaphor allows what it feels like to be desperately trying to market your business online to hit home. And it gives the rest of your blog post a lot more impact. Tip number 10, copy the greats. So, the brain dead simple but astonishingly effective way to become a better writer is my recent post on BoostBlog Traffic, and it's all about copying the greats. Here's what you want to do. If you want to become a much better blogger or writer or anything like that, find somebody whose writing you really enjoy. Whether that's somebody like a copywriter like Dan Kennedy or Gary Halbert, a blogger like John Morrow, or any of the guys on Copyblogger, things like that. Print out their blogs and handwrite them over and over and over again. Not type, but write with pen and paper. This will let your muscles remember the cadence of each post, of each writer. And eventually, after about 4 months of doing this for about an hour a night, you're going to see a dramatic increase in the quality of your blog posts. Alright, so that's really all I have for you with these 10 tips and these 10 lessons. And I hope that you're able to apply some of them into your own writing and into your own blog posts. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.